Hey there, I'm Sharlene Styles. I don't know if you know me or not, but welcome. I'm doing a little bit of an experiment for the next 7 days. I've been invited to share my story live in video format on social media for the next 7 days. So I want to give out a shout out to Tara Nolan, who's prompted this seed to get me doing this and sharing my story with you. So I don't know how you found me, if you know me or not, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background so that you can get to know me. And this is how I'm going to share my story and my platform from here out. So for most of my career, most of my life, for over 20 years, I've been in finance, in corporate finance. I started in a bank and then went independently as a financial advisor. So doing that for over 20 years, and I've been gone and left that industry for about 10 years. So it's been a very big part of my life. But my pain from what I found in that career has actually led me to find my purpose, and that's what I wanted to share with you here today. So um, what I found to be somewhat painful in my world, in the industry of corporate finance. I'm in Canada, so it's very similar to the United States, but I'm sure you can all attest to this. And 30 years ago when I started, it was a very male-dominated industry, and I don't mean just male in the terms of sex, but also the energy. So very masculine type of energy, where it's not just to say that men have these kind of qualities, but it's a masculine type of energy, which tends to be very ego-driven, very competitive, who's better than who, very logical, like controlling type of energy. And I was a female attempting to not only survive and swim with the sharks, but also to thrive in that type of environment. And we women, or those of us who have more feminine energy, it's a very different, it comes from a very, very different place. So the feminine energy, I found, for me personally, my feminine energy was being smothered in that type of environment. And it's not just to say that it's that industry, perhaps it's also, I mean, that's part of it, definitely part of it, but it's also perhaps the way that I showed up, and I didn't know how, as a female with a lots of female energy, to operate in a male or a masculine type of environment. So I just went about my day trying to fit in. But what ended up happening was that part of me, that balance of the feminine side, was smothered. So in my explanation of feminine energy, this is the parts of us that are very creative, very nurturing, we're collaborative, we want to create things. So that part of me, particularly in finance, which is very structured and very black and white in terms of numbers, that part of me was pretty much non-existent. So in that career, over 20-year period, I did become what most people would think is very successful if you look at it from an outward perspective, or outward looking in. I had a great income, a beautiful house, big beautiful house, nice cars, vacationed a few times a year, was rubbing elbows with all the who's who, but there was some part of me that was missing. My soul was yearning for something, and I didn't know what at the time. I just felt like, I'm doing this thing, I'm successful, and geez, is this all there is to life? Like, just to have these things, I mean, they're wonderful, but there was something more that I was yearning for. So it was a very big decision. It took me quite some time, and I may tell you about the pivoting moment at some point throughout this video series of of what actually prompted me to move. But I did eventually leave that career, and I didn't know what the heck I was going to do. I had no idea. All that I knew was I was going to be searching for something, that thing that was missing. So in my final year of being in finance, I was already taking a course in holistic nutrition, just to help myself, because I was so imbalanced. My health was so off the rails, and I found all this conflicting information. I didn't know what was truth anymore. So I thought, the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to go to school and find out from the people that know, the professionals, that's what's really accurate anyhow. was doing that part-time while I was working in finance. So once I left, I decided, well, I'll finish that certification and that education, get it done behind me. I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't I didn't never planned on being a consultant or a holistic nutritionist. I was really doing it for self-study. But nonetheless, throughout that process, I ended up taking a yoga teacher training course, and eventually over time a meditation teacher training course as well. But when I was done my holistic nutrition certification, I ended up opening up an office on top of the yoga studio that I frequented, that I was a student, and that I also took my training at. So I was on the second floor of a yoga studio, and of course, you know, well, in the beginning, I thought that that office was going to be like the headquarters of a retreat center or retreats that I was going to be offering around the globe. I thought that's what I would be doing just for fun, until I figured out what the heck I was going to do with my life. But women started coming to my office and knocking at my door needing help. And they were, even though I was trained in nutrition, yoga, and meditation, they were coming to me with things that were so much more involved than just food. So oftentimes there were some symptoms that were showing up for them that seemed to be physical, whether it's, you know, diabetes, female reproductive issues, weight gain, digestive imbalances, hormonal imbalances, skin disorders. All of these things may have a physical appearance to them. But once I started working with them, I found out that it was so much more than food. And don't get me wrong, food is definitely a part of it, but it was not just about the food. These women, what I found a very common theme was that there's this sense of unfulfillment in some area, a sense of imbalance. And they were wanting to move out of this pain, and that's what I started working with. So this is what I've been doing for the past 10 years, is helping women. Even though I'm a holistic nutritionist, I deal with so much more than that. And I'll talk about it in some future videos, but one of the things that I very early on gravitated to was energy work. And energy types of modalities, which I'll explain later in another video, because I'm going to be doing this for 7 days straight. So what I've found, though, is this very common underlying theme, and it may not be, you know, something that is quite apparent right from the get-go, but this is what I've been doing, and it has become my quest to help women not only step into like their physical energy, but their own feminine energy and everything about them. So believing in themselves, having self-confidence, understanding where they are, what they're capable of. And I'm going to talk more about this because there's some very common issues that I see, but predominantly this is what I do now. I help women. I help women not only survive, but thrive and live from a place of power, and to bring their feminine where they go, or maybe they need more masculine. So it is really about balance, and that's what I do. So as I said, I'm going to talk more the next few days, but feel free to drop me an emoji somewhere here to let me know if any of this resonates with you. Maybe the emoji can be how you're feeling, or if this also sounds familiar. And conversely, if you know you need some help immediately, I'm here. I offer a consultation for 30 minutes. It's a lifestyle and energy assessment for 30 minutes to kind of see where you're at, what may be holding you back, what can be tripping you up, and then some next steps to get there. So feel free, you can drop a message here, DM me, book an appointment directly online. But I'll look forward to seeing you over the next few days so that you can know a little bit more about me and my story. And so I guess maybe so I can get more comfortable on camera. Anyhow, I wish you well, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.